It began with a letter that should not have been there. I woke up at 3:07 a.m., heart thudding like a fist on a locked door. The room was quiet, too quiet, the kind of quiet that listens back. Moonlight spilled across my bedsheets, cold and pale like skin left the morgue. And there, just beneath my pillow, was the letter. It was folded tight. Not creased, not crumpled. Tight, like something had gripped it too hard for too long. My name was written across it in my own handwriting, but shaky, trembling, as if the hand that wrote it had forgotten how to be human. I opened it. Only 7 words inside. Get out before the 6th night. Burn the hallway tiles. That was it. No signature. No date. But something inside me curled back, like an animal that had heard the predator before the scream. I laughed it off that morning. Told myself I had written it in my sleep. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe I needed to stop sleeping with the window open. But all day, the words itched in my head like worms beneath skin. I checked the hallway tiles, cold, cracked, just old ceramic. I felt stupid. I felt watched. That night, I locked every door, turned off every light, and still, I woke at 3:07 a.m. There was a second letter, folded the exact same way. Same post-thin writing. It read, "It hears your footsteps. Start limping." I froze. Outside my bedroom door, something breathed, not loudly, just enough to press against the silence. A heavy, wet inhale, followed by a dragging sound across the floor. I didn't sleep again that night. By the 3rd night, I covered every mirror. The one in the hallway had started whispering. I thought it was wind until I heard my name, not spoken, but hissed. From the glass itself, the 3rd letter came curled inside my shoe. Don't answer the phone. It will sound like your mother. That evening, the phone rang once. I didn't move. I watched it. My hand was shaking. Then it rang again. And again. On the 6th ring, the machine picked up. I heard my mother's voice, sweet, soft, exactly how she sounded when I was 8. "Honey," she said, "open the door. Please. I'm cold." But my mother has been dead for 5 years, buried in a church with a locked casket. By the 4th night, the house changed. Walls pulsed when I touched them. My shadow moved out of sync, sometimes lingering when I stepped away. The light bulbs flickered with a wet clicking sound, like something chewing wires behind the walls. The 4th letter was inside the fridge, next to raw meat I didn't remember buying. Don't drink the water. It remembers your thoughts. I turned on the tap. Brown liquid poured out. Something wriggled through it. Something with teeth. I vomited for hours. By the 5th night, I found scratches under my bed. Long gouges in floorboards. Not animal. Not human. I began writing notes to myself. Left one on the door. Do not open for anyone. Another on the kitchen knife drawer. Use if it smiles with NO eyes. I thought I was protecting myself, but the 5th letter laughed at me. Literally. The ink was smeared like it had giggled itself dry. The 6th night is when you come home. I didn't understand what it meant. I was already in my home, right? Then came the 6th night. I didn't sleep. I sat in the hallway, knife in one hand, matches in the other, waiting for whatever this curse was to crawl out. And at 3:07 a.m., the walls began to hum. Low, vibrating, like the house was grinding its teeth. The hallway tiles bubbled. The mirror in the bathroom cracked. Every window fogged up from inside. Then the closet door opened, and I walked out. Not me. Something wearing my skin. Its face was close, but just wrong. No whites in the eyes. No breath. Its mouth opened far too wide and whispered, "Took you long enough." I couldn't move. I couldn't scream. I watched myself. This thing walked past me, step onto the hallway tiles. They didn't crack. Mine did when I followed. Then it turned, smiled with teeth like rusted nails, and said, "I left the letters so you'd trust me." I woke up the next morning in my bed, but the hallway is gone. Just a wall now. And the 7th letter is already waiting under my pillow. It says nothing, just a reflection of my own terrified face, drawn in blood, and it's smiling. I didn't open the 7th letter. I burned it without reading, but the flame screamed. It let out a wet, gasping howl, like I'd set fire to something alive. I dropped it, and it shriveled into black curls, leaving behind a bitter, meaty smoke that clung to the walls. Something watched me do it. I don't know how I knew, but I did. The shadows and corners had begun to stretch the wrong way, long and unnatural. They pooled like oil, and once I saw a pair of knees fold out of them. Just knees. Waiting. Listening. I avoided the hallway. The tiles had changed. They were no longer ceramic. They shimmered now, wet porous, like old skin stretched too thin. When I leaned close, I could see things beneath them. Fingers. Eyeballs. Rows of grinning teeth. Something was buried alive in the floor, and it smiled whenever I stepped near. That night, I locked the bedroom door and pushed furniture against it. I slept under the bed, clutching a kitchen knife. I don't remember falling asleep, but I remember waking up to find the knife gone, and my mattress whisper my name. The mirror in the hallway is back. I never replaced it. I know I didn't. But there it hangs, perfectly centered, spotless, wrong. When I passed it, it didn't reflect me. It showed a different version of the hallway. Identical, except for one detail. I was crawling across the tiles, covered in burns, teeth missing, and smiling too wide, dragging myself towards something, or away from it. And in the reflection, I wasn't alone. I found the next letter inside the kitchen sink, floating in black water. It was sealed in a clear bag, like something forensic, written in tight, sharp script. Burn the hallway tiles, before they remember too much. Use your blood if nothing else works. I tried. I poured gasoline, lit a match. Nothing caught. The flame slid off the tiles like oil on water. They hissed, but didn't burn. Instead, the tiles began to hiss back, loud, like angry static. Then I heard voices beneath them. Dozens. Children. Screaming. Laughing. Begging. And then one voice, mine. I was screaming under the floor. I ran. When I returned, the kitchen was filled with ash. Every cabinet was open. All the knives were gone. And something had been dragged across the floor. Thin, clawed lines that led to the bathroom. On the mirror, a new message was scratched into the glass. Every time you dream, it remembers your taste. I didn't want to sleep, but I had to. So I stayed awake, 3 nights straight, until my body collapsed, face first into the couch cushions. I dreamed of the hallway, endless, rotting, wet. I was walking barefoot across tiles that pulsed under my feet. Something moved beneath them. It followed. I tried to run, but my legs turned to rubber. My skin peeled in strips. My teeth fell out as I screamed. At the end of the hallway stood me, burned, hollow-eyed, mouth sewn shut. It held a torch, and it whispered, "The house only keeps what it loves." Then it set the tiles ablaze, and I screamed as fire crawled up my bones. I woke up in the bathroom, not sure how I got there. My mouth was full of ash. My fingernails were blackened, melted at the tips. I looked down and saw my feet were burned, blistered, red, like I'd really walked through fire. The hallway looked normal, but there was a smell now. Not rot, not mold. It was flesh. Cooked, sweet, familiar. The tiles are warmer each day. Now when I walk, they hum. When I stop, they whimper. I've tried breaking them. Sledgehammer, crowbar, even a fire axe. But they don't crack. They bleed. Thick. Tar-like blood that smells like my old bedroom. Last night, I found a photo in my freezer. A Polaroid I've never taken. It showed me on fire, smiling, standing on the hallway tiles. In the corner of the picture, something small had been circled in red ink. My foot, where the burn had just begun. There are new letters now, not under my pillow, not in my shoes, inside my mouth. I coughed one up this morning, crumpled, wet, lodged under my tongue. It said only, "If you don't burn it, you'll become it." And now I can hear something walking beneath the hallway when I sleep. It sounds like me, only heavier. The first time I heard it, I was in the kitchen, washing blood off the dishes. Not my blood. Not any I could explain. Anyway, there hadn't been cuts on my hands when I started cleaning. But halfway through scrubbing a crack plate, I noticed the water had turned dark, thick, almost black, and it smelled like pennies and spoiled meat. Then the kitchen radio flicked on by itself, and I heard my own voice whisper, "Don't trust the reflection. It lies better than you do." But I hadn't spoken. I smashed the radio, unplugged it first, just to be sure. Then I beat it with a frying pan until the static died. It left behind a high-pitched ringing in the air, like something in the house was disappointed. The hallway tiles began to tick. Not click, not crack, tick, like a heartbeat inside a coffin. One beat for every step I took away from them. I started leaving notes around the house, writing things to remind myself what was real, who I was, what day it might be. But every morning, the notes were rewritten in my handwriting, just wrong. The new voice came from the bathroom mirror. I hadn't looked at it since the fire dream. I'd kept it covered with duct tape and towels. But that night, the towels were torn down, the tape shredded like it had been bitten through. The mirror showed the bathroom, empty, but I was still standing there. No reflection. Then it began to fog from the inside. From inside the glass, a breath rose through it. Slow, steady. And then I heard my voice say, "It's okay now. Come closer. I'm you again." I didn't. I backed away, turned off the lights, slammed the door. I slept in the hallway that night. I didn't want to, but my bedroom door was gone. Where it had been, there was only a black rectangle. Tall, stretching from floor to ceiling, humming with static, like an unplugged TV screen. When I threw salt at it, it hissed and spat sparks. When I turned around, the hallway had stretched, twice as long, 3 times. The tiles were slick and breathing. At 3:07 a.m., the hallway lights blinked out, complete dark. I froze, knife in hand, heart thudding. The silence was like being buried alive, too loud to breathe. Then I heard footsteps, slow, barefoot, getting closer. The sound of skin slapping wet tile. Then, just outside the darkness, my voice whispered, "Put the knife down. You're only going to hurt yourself." But I wasn't speaking. I bit my lip to prove I was real. I drew blood. The voice didn't stop. It chuckled. "See? You never sleep anymore. You're so tired. Let me take over tonight." The hallway lights blinked back on. There was no one there, but something had left footprints, bare, wet, and burned into the tiles. Each one faced toward me. The next morning, I played back my doorbell cam footage. It shouldn't have recorded anything. I hadn't left the house in days, weeks, but at exactly 3:07 a.m., the camera showed me walking out the front door, calm, smiling, wearing the exact clothes I'd worn to sleep. Only, I was singing, a lullaby my mother used to hum before the cancer took her. I sang it off-key, slow, and in reverse. I don't remember leaving the house, but I found dirt under my nails the next day, muddy footprints on the stairwell, a dead crow under the doormat, and a voice memo on my phone, recorded at 3:19 a.m. The file was titled, "Confession Final." When I played it, I heard my voice say, "They let me out. I left him behind. Don't go upstairs. He still thinks he's you." Then laughter, but it wasn't mine. It was louder, wetter, hungrier. Now the house has 2 of everything. 2 toothbrushes in the bathroom, 2 pairs of shoes by the door, 2 shadows behind me. But only one of them moves when I do. Last night, I heard myself begging from inside the hallway mirror, tears running down the glass. My voice broken, desperate. "Please, it's in me. It's wearing me. I can feel its skin sliding over mine." But when I reached out to touch it, the glass rippled like water, and a hand grabbed my wrist from inside. It was hot and skinless. The mirror's cracked now, hairline fractures shaped like veins. This morning, I coughed up another note, this one stitched shut with black thread. I cut it open with a razor. It read, "The voice isn't stealing you. You gave yourself away." I tried to scream. Nothing came out. The sound was stuck in my throat. Somewhere deep, I could hear myself still speaking. A loop, a chant, telling the thing inside the mirror where I was. And it was answering. The front door opened at exactly 3:07 a.m. I know because I was standing in front of it, watching, waiting. I had bolted it shut. I had stacked furniture against it, poured salt along the threshold, drawn symbols from old books I shouldn't have read. But at 3:07 a.m., the salt turned black, the symbols bled, and the doorknob twisted on its own. And I walked out, only I was still inside. The other me stepped through with a calmness I've never had. Same eyes, same scar under the chin, same jacket I burned in the fireplace 3 nights ago, but different smile, wider, fixed, like a puppet pulled too tight. And the eyes didn't blink, not once. It looked at me through the door's glass pane as it closed it gently behind itself and locked it from the outside. I ran to every exit. The windows were sealed. The vents hummed with thick, wet breath. The attic stairs had been replaced with a smooth, skin-colored slope. And when I screamed for help, my voice didn't come out. His did. The house began to change. Rooms no longer stayed in place. The kitchen led to the basement. The basement led to the upstairs closet. And the upstairs closet had no floor anymore, just a yawning pit that pulsed like a throat. I dropped a shoe into it. I heard it land inside my bedroom. A minute later, someone slipped it back under the door. Still warm. The hallway tiles now reflected things behind me, not shadows, events. I saw myself being dragged across the floor, claw marks on my neck. I saw the mirror version of me choking something smaller, my childhood self, screaming. I saw the front door open again, but no one leaving, just re-entering, over and over again. That morning, I found a tape recorder in the fridge, still running, still warm. I pressed play. My voice whispered, "I've tried every door but the right one. It only opens inward." Then static, then a new voice. Low, wet and impossible. "Come deeper, leave yourself behind. There's nothing worth keeping out there." By nightfall, the ceiling started bleeding, not dripping, pouring. Thick, rope-ish strings of red oozed down the light fixtures and pooled on the floor. I stood beneath it, horrified, frozen. Then I saw something shift behind the plaster, a face pressing through the drywall like it was fabric. My own face, mouth wide open in a scream. No sound came out. I ran to the bathroom, desperate to hide, but the mirror was missing. Only a hole remained, large enough to crawl through. Inside, I saw a corridor made of doors. Hundreds, each one slightly ajar. From behind every door, I could hear a version of myself screaming. Some laughed. One sobbed and said, "Don't pick mine. Don't let me out again." But one door at the very end swung wide open, a perfect copy of my bedroom. And inside was me, asleep, peaceful, dreaming. I watched myself twitch slightly, mouthing silent words. I couldn't look away, couldn't breathe. Then the sleeping me sat up slowly, opened its eyes, and stared through me. "There you are," it whispered. "I've been dreaming you for weeks." I ran through the corridor, past the screaming doors. One of them opened as I passed, and something long, thin, and wet dragged across my neck. I fell, crawled, and slammed the bathroom door shut behind me. But the hole was gone. The mirror was back, and my reflection was smiling. That night, I slept in the bathtub, knife in one hand, duct tape over my mouth. I woke up standing in the hallway, holding the tape, and whispering to the tiles. Another note appeared beneath my tongue that morning, soaked in spit, written in something that wasn't ink. He left through the wrong door. He's still inside. I found one final door in the basement, hidden behind the boiler, nailed shut from the inside. Every time I got close, the nail squirmed, alive, twitching like metal worms. The air smelled like rotting teeth and forgotten promises. The door whispered in my voice, "It's the only way to end it. All of you in one place." I haven't opened it yet, but the knocks are getting louder. One for every heartbeat. One for every time I say my own name and don't believe it. They found my body on the 7th night. buried 6 feet beneath the hallway tiles, curled like a fetus, eyes open, mouth sewn shut with my own hair, skin pale and waxy, like something meant for display, not burial. I don't know who they are, but I watched them dig me up from the top of the stairs, barefoot, silent, smiling. The tiles had opened on their own, soft and slick like gums peeled back from teeth. The smell was unbearable, sweet, rotting, recognizable. It smelled like my mother's hands after chemo, like forgotten birthdays, like my own breath in a locked closet. They pulled me out slowly. One of them said, "This isn't the first." Another whispered, "He's still moving." I twitched as they held me, as if I didn't want to leave, or something didn't want me to. They laid me on the kitchen table. My kitchen, but not. The angles were all wrong. The windows were painted black from the inside. The fridge hummed backwards. The clock spun in slow, jerking spirals. And the photos on the wall had no faces, just skin stretched where smiles should be. They opened my mouth. One held me down while the other reached inside. His arm disappeared up to the elbow, digging past my tongue like it was soil. He pulled out letters, dozens of them, each one addressed to me, from me, written in languages I don't know, but somehow understood. One read, "You are not the dreamer. You are the echo." Another, "We all buried something, only you came back wrong." I wanted to scream, but my voice had been used already, stolen, spoken, repeated. I didn't belong to myself anymore. I belonged to the house, to the hallway, to him. They lit candles around my body, not for mourning, for ritual. One held my burnt shoe. The other carved a door into the wall with a bone. The door bled, a little at first, then more. Inside it, I saw a tunnel made of teeth. Each tooth had my name etched in its enamel. At the end of that tunnel, I saw me, taller, hollow-eyed, wearing the skin I thought I'd escaped. It opened its arms, and I felt my legs begin to walk without asking. I passed the mirror one last time. My reflection didn't follow. It just stared, slowly mouthing, "You left something behind, something that still dreams." I stepped through the tooth door. The sound it made when it shut behind me was wet. The tunnel was short, too short. The moment I reached the end, I was standing in my bedroom again. But it wasn't my bedroom. The bed was nailed to the ceiling. The dresser bled from its drawers. And lying in the corner was a child. Me, age 7, wearing the dinosaur pajamas I was buried in after the fever dream I never woke up from. He looked up at me, eyes weeping black ink. "Why didn't you burn it?" he asked. "It remembers too much now." I tried to answer, but he raised a hand and my mouth sealed shut, stitched from the inside by invisible thread. Then he climbed onto the bed, on the ceiling, and whispered, "We're to try again, but this time remember the rules." He clapped twice, and the world turned inside out. I woke up in bed, pillow under my head, sunlight through the blinds. Normal, too normal, but I smelled blood in the air. On the floor, a note waited, written in my handwriting. "Get out before the 6th night. Burn the hallway tiles. Don't trust your reflection." It was folded, fresh. I hadn't written it. The hallway is quiet again. Tiles cool, mirror intact. But sometimes when I walk past a mirror, my reflection lags behind by just 1 second. Sometimes when I sleep, I wake up to find dirt under my nails. Sometimes when I open the fridge, the tape recorder is still there, still playing. My voice, laughing, slowly counting backward. 6, 5, 4. I don't know how many times I've lived this week. I don't know if I'm the dreamer or the one trapped in the dream. But I do know the hallway tiles are warming again. And tonight is the 6th night. I keep thinking I'll escape next time, that I'll follow the instructions perfectly. But something in the mirror always beats me to it. Smiling with my face, speaking with my voice. They buried my body, but I kept walking, because the house never lets go. It only pretends to forget, and now it remembers everything.
If you're still breathing, congratulations. You survived another tale from Majesty Horror Story. But the nightmare doesn't end here. Hit subscribe, tap that like button and share this story, or she might pay you a visit tonight. Don't forget, they're watching who doesn't share. Sleep tight.